ladies and gentlemen, let me do this properly. I'm very happy to see y'all once again on this episode of Behind the Mic Stand. My name is Alex Babbitt. Y'all know that, and I love to see you every time. This episode, we have the hilarious, intellectual, and superstar in the making. You know her, you love her. The second half of the Bearded Ladies show. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the one and only Electra telesford. What's up, sis?
Hey, how are you?
How you doing? How you doing? Had to get the formalities right.
I know. I was like, wait, am I supposed to clap for myself?
It's in post.
My number one supporter is me. Yeah.
Really?
Jesus. He's everyone's number one supporter.
All right. Does this support you more than your family?
My family supports me through Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Meta. Except for my Muslim family, that's a whole.
Oh, wait.
He is a prophet.
So Allah, what's he do for you?
Everything. Ooh, this is gonna really turn me. This is like not my brand. This is not my brand at all.
We just
yeah, I'm very secular.
It'd be funny as shit to be like, I'm an atheist. I have no.
Yeah, I'm like everyone's gonna be like Christians following after this.
They do?
No.
Yeah, I can't see. I see, because one of my favorite things, I always just want to give you praise. You are one of the comics that I genuinely look at as intellectual. Like, every comic isn't smart. I don't think I'm smart. I just think I can say a dumb thing in a smart way.
Okay.
Where you.
That's important in comedy.
Right?
You found your lane.
Yeah, I know. I'm the voice of the dumb. But you feel like the voice of smart people.
Oh, that's really sweet. I don't feel that smart most of the time.
Really?
No, I don't. I mean, I feel like there's someone, I think like Socrates, like, no, someone.
See, look what you're doing. You're about to throw out Socrates.
Like, all I know is that I know nothing. Some philosopher has that, or that's been translated into English, and I always agree with that. Like, I don't know anything.
I think I know the quote. It's like, the most intelligent people realize they know nothing.
Yeah, I don't, like, it's all subject to change. Well, its facts aren't, but, like, my opinion.
See, there it is. There's that genius kicking in.
I'm analytical, if nothing else.
Okay.
But thank you, I appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime. Because it's I felt it in watching your stand-up and then just communicating with you in real life. Like, you're smart, but then you also leave, like, a villainous level of, like, sarcasm and cynicism?
I think I have a that's not a word. I can be a bit of a cynic. I'm trying to change that, which is interesting for me. But yeah, definitely cynical of people. And misanthrope was what I used to use.
Ooh, that's a good word. What does that mean?
Misanthrope. It's like people who dislike humans.
You don't like people?
That was my like brand before comedy. That was my brand. It was like, was it Garfield-esque, like very like that vibe. Eeyore. He used to call me Eeyore in elementary school.
Wait, in elementary school, so when you're all of 8 kids like that,
yeah. I used to watch Daria all the time. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of like comparisons, and I've never watched Bob's Burgers, but Tina Belcher. Is
that the mom?
I think it's the daughter, the one that does that weird twerking motion.
Okay, the one from.
I've gotten that. Yeah, I've gotten that comparison, but I've never seen the show. So.
Got you. So you get the people that question most of reality and like will make you feel weird about it, but you're nice.
But like, yeah, there's like an element of being lovable. Yeah.
Is that the new brand? Trying to rewash?
Well, I think people still want to hang out with me. I mean, I've met people like who are maybe lower or higher on the spectrum of that, and it's like, oh, you are insufferable. No. I think I keep showing up to life, no matter how I feel about it, like I keep doing it.
I like being here. I just don't like that you guys are here. Is that kind of?
Yeah, I think I've realized the older I get that I don't need to be around everybody. And so like when I am around people, it's usually people I really love to be around. I think when you're younger, it's kind of like you try to make friends and you're not really like picking up on the cues, like this is just not going to work.
And it sucks.
Yeah, or they're just not for you, right? And now I realize, like they're just not for me. And now I'm around people I love to see all the time for the most part. And it's like, oh, this is great.
Oh, that's fucking fire.
Yeah.
That's a fire gem to give out to people because I feel like I had a hard time doing that growing up as well.
Yeah, I think after 25 or maybe like a little bit later, you're like, nah.
This is it.
This is like who I am currently, and it's just we're not a vibe.
Do you from that energy? Was that easy for you to like transition out of other like friend groups and all that stuff? Like when you had to drop people off when you changed, was that easy for you? You're just like, oh, it's cool. I get it.
It was, I think, I had a lot of group experiences growing up because I played sports. So I think I was constantly around people I didn't want to be around, and like, but also became really good at and that's helped me tremendously in comedy, learning how to like navigate through people
you don't like.
I don't like, and then I can kind of like, I know how to hold it in, or just like know that there's a limit, there's like a limitation to how close we're gonna get, and that's fine, you know. But I definitely, what was the original question? I'm sorry.
How do you navigate like those moments when you're in that transitional period? So you're transitioning out of, you like, oh, this is not a good relationship for me. And is it easy for you to just step back?
Sometimes it's difficult because I think sometimes you can be really close to someone and then, you know, our lives are constantly changing and it's no longer a fit. I think those are the most difficult ones where it's like, oh, we were here together and now I don't want to do this because it seems like one person's gotten better, but we're just like, sometimes it's like, or like we're in different places in our lives. So those ones are difficult. Yeah. But for the other ones, it's like, oh, we just don't, that's it. And I'm very like, yeah. Just like this. I will castrate that relationship so fast.
You're dead to me.
Yeah.
You're dead to me.
Well, yeah. I think I do. It's a little weird, but it's easy for me.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a breakup. Then I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, you're that hard of a breakup?
Yeah, I'm a Pisces, so yeah.
Oh, we got to get into the horoscopes for this episode.
So no, we don't. We really don't. We called me intellectual in the beginning. You don't need to ruin that. Yeah. But that's what people say. Pisces are very much about their romantic relationships.
I respect it.
Yeah.
When it comes to your relationships in general, because I got to know a lot about you, and before you got here, like I read up a little bit, but then I also want to know more. So to give context to people who don't know, comedian, other stuff. I've had the pleasure of meeting you over the past maybe 3-4 years. Bam. One, family life. Because you seem very Caribbean based. Like whenever we're in a car or some shit, I'm like, oh yeah, she's from an island. If not from an island, been around an island.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very Caribbean. Yeah.
Feeling the culture. Where's the family from?
My family's from Guyana. Yeah, they're Guyanese. So my mom was born in Curacao actually, but then they moved to Guyana, and my dad's Guyanese too. So both sides of the family from Guyana. Very different. Because my dad's from like the country and my mom's from the city, which is like Georgetown.
Did she look down on him when they first got together?
No, I don't think so. My mom was she got here when she was like 13, 14. So she's like pretty American. It's just that we're in East Flatbush. So you have to admit, it's really hard to like, you know, get out of, you know, so we're very Caribbean partially because of where we're from, but I think we hold on to the things that we want to hold on to. And then like the provincial stuff, like not really as much, but yeah, my dad's from the country.
That's fire.
Yeah, from the bush.
Oh, yeah, that's how you know it's really from a country and from an island country. When you say from the fucking bush.
Yeah. I feel I should tell you, though, it's on South America. It's like it's like we have like the Caribbean Sea, so it's technically not an island, but culturally, it may as well be.
So it feels like Trinidad and Tobago culturally, but it's more influenced by Spanish element. Like
no, it's the only English speaking country in the South America. So because it's like British colonized it is considered to be like more, and because we're on the Caribbean Sea and on like the coast, it's more Caribbean.
People can watch my public school kicking in. Like I'm really taking.
I went to public school.
Nah, but you went to a good one.
I went to a variety of schools, at least 3.
Once again, that's how you know it was good. When you throw it in there, variety, well-rounded in the public school world.
I honestly, my mom was really big about me doing stuff outside of school. Like, really? So during the summer, I'd have like, workbooks and stuff to do. So I feel like it would have been different if I hadn't done those things.
Oh, so your mom gave you the extra curriculum school. Yeah.
So during the summer, I had to do like work every year until maybe like middle of high school.
That's why you became a teacher.
That's not why I became a teacher. We're gonna get into that probably, I imagine later on. But yeah, so just continue. It's Caribbean.
Yeah, it all plays its part because every Caribbean person I meet and talk to, especially on this show, it always has 2 different realms. It's either the Caribbean that school was shoved down their throat, or the Caribbean family that was like, you don't need school, you can just work, but they just try to put you in a trade. Like,
welding.
Yeah, like you don't have to be a teacher, but you got to be a janitor.
You have to have a job.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't be walking around here unemployed. I don't know too many unemployed Caribbean people.
I don't know any.
Yeah, I was being like loose, but I don't really know any.
I don't know any Caribbean person.
Yeah.
And that's like the stereotype in comedy of like Caribbean person, like a Jamaican has 3 jobs. Like every Jamaican I know got like 3 jobs.
Yeah, like it's just, what'd you come here for? If not to work.
Did your family come to like raise you with that kind of energy?
Yeah, so my grandma came here first because they were like hiring nurses. Like they were like importing nurses to America. So she came, and then my family ended up they got here like I guess like the beginning of high school. My mom and her 2 sisters, and then they went to college and everything. So it was kind of like that. And that was the track in Guyana too, because my grandma was a nurse in Guyana. So there's a certain level of like education that they already had back home. So that was just what it was.
So it was just like follow the path.
Yeah, or like not super hard because I know like it's really easy to go into that like first generation thing where it's like I had to be a doctor or they were gonna disown me. But it was very much like you need to go to school and be able to like be self-sufficient, you know. But I think I was really lucky different in a lot of ways than I think some other Caribbean kids or like first generation kids.
You didn't feel bullied in any way, like by the family?
No, to like do something. No, my mom put me in. I mean, I kind of got on this path like a long, long time ago because I was a child actor.
Oh shit!
Not like on some like famous shit, obviously, but like I worked. You know,
you did plays or like film?
I did like catalog work, like modeling.
Oh.
I was in a lot of textbooks.
Hold on, before we filmed, she said, "I have a beautiful profile." So like,
oh, and I don't know how it's gonna look, but like,
trust me. Go ahead.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
I think I like this side better, but anyway. You know, so I did a lot of stuff. So yeah, I went to performing arts middle school, where I studied like drama and musical theater. Yeah.
That's I'm just intrigued.
Yeah,
because I didn't know this at all.
It was like a pretty good school too. We've had like some famous alum. I was in the same class as Jasmine Jones. I think she goes by Jasmine Jones. She was in the Hamilton.
Okay.
And her dad is like on This Is Us. It was like a whole,
This is the public school you went to?
The middle school. Middle school.
Was it public?
Yes.
Yeah, we went to vastly different public school.
In Sheepshead Bay. That was hard though. It was hard because it was my first school was PS 235 in Flatbush, which was like still a good school. Like it was like the top in district. I guess that was 18. And then the junior high school, my mom was like, "You can't go there." Like, you can't go there. The kids that ended up going there had totally different life trajectories than like how my life went. Mm-hmm. Like all of them, just very different.
Drugs or like
Earl had like kids super early, no judgment, but like a lot
of judgment. It's okay. It's okay to have a little judgment.
I mean, it's not a lot of. It's not supposed to be a lot of judgment, mainly because like that's not. Especially as a teacher, I realized like that's really not their fault. Like it's the fault of the education system that didn't really support them. And like continues to not support them, but
you gotta look in the camera when you say that, so they know directly.
And continues not to support them. But I'm sorry, I get so distracted. But yeah, so I ended up I had to like apply for that school and like audition for the school. And it was hard though because I ended up going to school with a lot of white kids, and like most of my experience with white kids were like through extracurricular activities. Like I'd go to like tennis and stuff, and like being with them all day was different though. You know, like an hour a day is fine, but like you either be with these kids all day. You know,
were you like one of?
There weren't that many black kids, especially. I mean, there were maybe 6 in my class, and then like the athletic division of the school had more black kids in it than like the theater version.
Why are we so good?
Yeah. You know, so that was different, especially because looking back at it, I think my teachers were kind of racist, if I'm honest with you. Like they were kind of always preferential to like the Asian kids and like the white kids and the Jewish kids, and so yeah, that was hard. So I looking back at it as like a grown woman, I could be like, oh, that was racism. But then as a kid, I was like, I don't like it here. Everyone's like treating me like I'm a fucking idiot, you know, and it was difficult.
Like you didn't go through the same like parameters and stuff that the other students went through.
Yeah, and I think too, like it was a situation where it wasn't culturally responsive, right? So like this was set up for white kids, so that means white kids that went to a white elementary school were better prepared than like the kids that came from a very different like cultural the schools with very different culture than these, right? So like I think we were allowed to be more rambunctious in my elementary school. Like we were kind of not to say that it was looser, but like this was just like personality.
They knew black energy.
Yeah, you know, and this school didn't, and they kind of stamped it out as hard as they could.
If somebody was Millie rocking in your earlier school, they like, that's just him. That's
exactly.
This one, they like, what's wrong with you, heathen?
Yeah, exactly. I think he needs an IEP. Like,
They're trying to promote drugs, he's just Millie rocking.
Yeah, exactly. I think he needs Ritalin right now. So that was hard. So I ended up kind of falling out of like liking performing. So I didn't really do it until stand up, really. Like after that, because it was so traumatic.
So what was stand up like? And that's so surreal because one, I know a lot of black people in general go through that transition in some ways of like, at some point in your life you had a predominantly white teacher who didn't understand you. I had a white teacher that like, now I can't even really be shady because she came to one of my shows. And she came to one of my shows, I did well. She told me she always believed in me. But that same teacher in junior high tried to get me arrested because one of my friends stole her phone and I just wouldn't tell. So she tried to get us all arrested.
Oh my God, she believed in your potential to be a criminal.
I guess.
It sounds like. She's like, I always believed in you.
And it's one of those things where you just got to sit there and be like, yo, I'm just not a tattletale. I'm not a snitch in this. Yeah. I live in this environment and know what this environment comes with. You are a foreign entity trying to tell us how to move. How
to be. And the unfortunate thing is most of them think they're doing, and some of them are, right? Yes. Like I said, the whiteness is not the issue 100% of the time. It's just like the lack of desire to learn how to be a part of this. And it's like trying to steer instead of, letting the kids, or like trying to like co-steer. I don't know. It's not the best metaphor or simile, but and I think that a lot of times that's where they go wrong. But as a teacher, I've worked with some really great, like culturally responsive, like know how to like meet the kids where they're at and like know who they are. But that wasn't my case 20 years ago. So I didn't benefit from CRT,
but I'm glad the future is looking bright.
Yeah, the kids are, so.
That's fair. It's an interesting thing to hear. So I got two questions that came out while you're speaking. One, what was the thing that made you want to become a teacher if your experience was that bad, or just like not as fulfilling when you were a child? So when I was in college, I got a job as a basically like water instructor / like PE teacher unofficially at a preschool for kids with autism. What's water instructor?
You're basically teaching swim classes.
Oh, okay.
That's like the license or the certificate as water instructor. So I did that for like 2-3 years. And then when I graduated, I didn't really know what to do. So I applied for the fellows program, which is like a New York City teaching fellows. And I didn't get in. So then I spent, whatever. And then I ended up kind of like doing a bunch of other stuff. Like I like tried to get like a journalism internship and just like I ended up tutoring. That's really what it was. I ended up tutoring, but independent tutoring. And then like I think like 2 years went by and I was like, well, let me try applying again. And then I did. So there really wasn't anything to it other than like really getting to a place where I wanted security because it was hard. It was really hard. And like I look back at it and it's like not that it was my first choice, but I went to Brooklyn College, which is a great school, but the alumni department or like when you're about to graduate, that department was not super helpful.
There was nobody of like value bringing you stuff.
Yeah, and like I don't think they had I'm sure if I had wanted to go into like business or something, they would have had more resources. But I knew at that point I wanted to write in some capacity, and like they didn't have any meaningful or helpful things for that. So it's kind of on my own. Like I mean, that's where like kids that graduate from like NYU and things, they have way more resources in the alumni and in like just the connections that those offices have. Like that's where they really,
My cousin went to HBCU. I forgot which one, the red and white ones. He was in a fraternity too, and like I just see the amount of connections he has, and like he don't even really gotta know the people, but because he was in the fraternity, he could just be like, "Hey, I was a Kappa or whatever it is," and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we'll help you with these resources," and that's real to me.
Yeah, and it's super helpful, and without that, it's a lot harder. And that's already challenging because you still have like these other things, being black, being whatever. But is a huge leg up if you have access to those resources. And I did not, which is how I ended up teaching. So, and here we are.
And then, bam, full transition, comedy. So that means you gave up on that? What happened with this?
So part of being in the fellows program was that you had to do 2 years to get your master's degree. And after I got my master's, I was like, I don't think I can do this forever. Yeah, no, I don't think I can do this forever. And I was like, Electra, what do you really want to do? Like, what do you want?
Yourself?
Yeah, like, what is it that you really, really want to do? And I actually decided, like, television writing was what I wanted to do.
And like, things.
Because I watch a lot of TV.
All your answers are very direct, like very here. It's just, oh yeah, I watch TV. I want to write for TV.
Yeah, I watch TV. I love television. I've always like been really interested. Like I get really engrossed in the experience, and I've always been like a writer. Always been a storyteller. I used to write scripts when I was younger, like as a kid, like and have my friends act them out, and like, and I
wrote screenplays.
Yeah, I wrote screenplays. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to West Barron.
There you go. You're the tree. That's
yeah. In the 8th grade, I went to West Barron acting school and took like a screenwriting class, and I was really into it, and I kept doing it after that.
And I see your face lighting up, even talking about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you. And I'm watching you go, oh my God, I get to write? That's
well, it's also because it's like this is an opportunity for me to reflect on like how I got here, and I'm like, now that I think about it, I've been doing this shit. I've been at this for a while. Yeah. So I ended up, deciding that like I wanted to do that. So I wrote my first feature, which was 120 pages. I wrote it in like not a lot of time. Let's just say that. And then I decided, okay, well, how do people get these jobs? How do people get writing jobs? And I noticed that a lot of television writers were stand-up comedians, and partially I'd also very specific goal. I was like, I want to write for SNL.
Really?
Yeah, I want to write for SNL. Don't ask me how many packets I've submitted since then. Not enough to have said that I wanted to write for SNL. So I ended up like looking and seeing that a lot of those people who were writers on the show went to UCB, and they did stand-up comedy. So I did the improv class, and then in the improv class, the instructor was like, there was this thing where you had to. Like, she would point to you and you had to talk. And then she'd point to another person and then she'd, like, point back to you just to make it shorter. And then you had to continue your story that you were telling.
After using
the same information.
Okay.
So it's like you almost, like, you're telling your story and then you pause. And then she would go to another person, they start telling a story, and then she'd go to how many other people, and then she'd come back to you, and you had to continue the story.
From so when all that extra influence still focused on your thing.
Your thing. And so at the end of it, like, the biggest feedback she got was, oh, you sound like you're doing stand-up comedy. And everyone in the class was like, yeah, you sound like you're doing stand-up comedy. And then one of the girls was like, oh, you want to come to a mic? I do stand-up comedy. So then I went to a mic with her, like, soon after, and then that was pretty much it. So what I'm saying is I'm very bad at improv. This is what I'm telling you. I'm a shitty...
I don't yes there for shit.
We'll be on this fucking spaceship making pizzas.
She's like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm like, all you guys are stupid. No, improv is so... I respect... Like, watching good improv is so impressive to me. But there's a lot more bad improv than good.
I think the same thing with stand-up.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But you can see more nuggets of goodness. Yeah.
Okay.
In stand-up. But like improv is just, it's like, I'm not gonna say, I wasn't even bad at improv, but it was just like too much for me. I would get frustrated with other people, and I was like, I've had enough team sports in my life. Like, I don't need to do another one.
I don't want to work with you.
Yeah, I don't.
I feel like I used to love watching, what was the Wayne Brady one? It was an improv show, early 2000s. Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes, Whose Line Is It? Yes, that was a very popular one, yeah.
I enjoyed the fuck out of that, because that was like, to me, that was high-end improv stuff.
No, yeah, Wayne Brady's very talented.
Yes.
Corny, but very talented.
He's less attractive Jamie Foxx. Like, I feel like...
Oh.
I just had this conversation with somebody recently. It was like, what is the difference between Wayne Brady?
Oh, but he can sing, too.
Yes, he sings well. I got some of his music on my phone. He sings really well.
If he fucks Katie Holmes, they're the same person.
Oh, man. I just hope they got your face exactly when you said that. Wayne Brady. Oh, Wayne Brady is Jamie Foxx if he just fucks Katie Holmes. That's all it takes. But it's the truth. It's like, it's select things that make a person different. But yeah, he has all the same capabilities and skills. Now that you're in stand-up, do you feel like your dream is truly to like just lean straight into writing, or now you appreciate the craft of stand-up?
I love stand-up now. I mean, there's been some times in this, like, 4-year journey at this point that I've, like, had to remind myself that I got into this to be a television writer. Like, I've been like, bitch, you had dreams, okay? Not drink tickets, you had dreams. And then I'm just kind of like, oh, shit. But to answer your question, yeah, I'm now kind of trying to do both at the same time because I realize, like, it's a long thing, stand-up comedy. Both of them are very long, but in terms of, like, getting to, like, a place where you're making money, like, you know? But it feels like, I think a lot of comics don't realize that, like, stand-up comedy, a lot of writers that are comics don't realize it's kind of like a shortcut. Like, if you can make that jump,
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there are so many, I follow a lot of, like, I'm on, like, writer TikTok, not TikTok, writer Twitter, and there's so many people who are really good, and, like, it's so much more difficult when you're just doing the writing without the stand-up, because the stand-up can get you a manager who can get you, at least contact with, like, a literary manager or connections with production companies and
pitch deals.
Yeah, the pitch, all those
the
things.
Writing package.
Yeah,
That's
and
the stand-up.
Exactly, and a lot of people who are just purely writers don't get access in that way. So.
Yeah, that's gotta be weird. I would have no idea how to just, like, write in your house and then get on.
Yeah, and then going through, like, the whole and you still do it as a comic, like, entering the contest and everything, like the script writing contest, but it's harder. I've actually seen bitter writer Twitter comments about, like, stand-up comics getting writing gigs.
Oh, they're hating?
Yeah.
Like, that's the fun thing about every craft. There's, like, every craft hates on somebody else.
Yeah, 100%.
Comedians be like, this guy came with a guitar. like, that's equally as hard.
I know, exactly. But, no, I totally, it's interesting to see, and I realize that it is a benefit, though. So, and I also, like, love it. I love stand-up comedy. Yeah. So it's like, how good can I get at this thing? Is there a cap for me? Like, that's what I always think about.
But it seems to be like a blissfulness in it for you. Just like, you don't, based off what you just explained to me, like, you, not saying you don't take it seriously, you do, but, like, you're not like, stand up is all I have. I'll never blah, 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 blah. You don't do all of that. It's just like, oh, I'm happy to be in this thing. Is that it?
I think yes and no, like, in the sense of, I realize looking around me that there are a lot of really, really great stand-up comedians. This is your turn to look in the camera.
Come on, man.
There you go. Real people who've been at it a really long time and are really good at what they do and, like, are just as committed to, like, progressing as I am. So I'm no different than anybody else, right? So I have to recognize that, like, it could happen for me. Stand-up comedy could happen for me a month from now, like, poppin', right? Or it could happen 10 years from now, and I feel better about preparing for 10 years from now than being like, it's gonna happen tomorrow. It's gonna happen tomorrow, right? It's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, because that's not sustainable. That doesn't feel good, right? Yeah. So just know that, like, I'm like trying to progress the same way everyone else is, but I'm also not. We're all special, so none of us are special. Is like my reasoning.
Come on, Eeyore.
We all have something. So, like, what's the discerning thing? So basically, I'm saying, like, I'd rather just, it's not bliss. It's extremely challenging for me. It really forces me, because I'm, like, an introvert by nature.
That's interesting.
So
I don't get that vibe from you. So that's so.
No, I'm super, super introverted. Like a lot. So it's difficult for me in that way, especially because, like, I feel like for me it's been about how can I get my comedy off stage, like how I am as a person, to be the comedy that I'm doing on stage, which is very different, or my funny is very different, and how can I, like, bridge that? Because
it takes time.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. People told me this. I'm more recently starting to feel like they're syncing up. But it just takes, because you got to go through all of those years of lying to yourself. I know it's gonna sound wild, but lying to yourself and being like, all right, I'm sick of this. Yeah, and also knowing the results that you bring. So you, like, because it's like a confidence thing too, to get to that match.
Yeah.
It's hard to fake the confidence of time.
Nope.
There's just no way around it.
No, I mean, and you also, like, and it's like a nice little thing where you want them to get to a place together, because nobody hates anything. There's nothing to hate more than, like, a too confident comic whose, like, skill level is they're separating.
It started like a year ago. I got a DM from a dude. It's like, hey, man, I'm a new comic. I'm one of the greatest comics ever in the scene. Here's my tape. Share it with everybody. Like
yeah, it's like trill rapper energy, but like stand-up comedy. Yeah,
like, it's not how that works, bro. Like I respect the like belief in yourself, but it's like, all right, what you want me to do with that? I do this too. Like,
but it's so interesting to me because I feel like let's go back to that guitar thing, right? Like, I would never play guitar for a year and be like, I'm Carlos Santana, right? Like, you wouldn't do that, but I feel like people approach stand-up comedy in this way that doesn't have, and maybe it's entirely up to them, like, reverence for what they're actually trying to do. And that is something that I feel like it's like a self-awareness thing, you know? It's like, I know I've only been doing it for 4 years. I feel good about where I am, but I'm also not going to be like, I don't know, I'm Dave Chappelle, you feel me? I to like slap the mic on my knee. Like that's not where I'm gonna sit down during this set. I do love to sit down.
During the showcase though, that's wild. Now it irks me a little bit more than watching somebody straight up sit down who like just started.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Stand up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna take a sip of water during this 6-minute set. Yeah. Like I'm thirsty.
Everybody good? Like, why are you dragging it? You got 5 minutes. Just do your set.
No, so it's just I try to approach it with like, you know, I always tell myself when I don't want to do something like stand-up doesn't need me. And I know that sounds crazy. I'm like, this doesn't need me. I'm choosing to do this thing, you know? Yeah. So like, let me respect like everyone else in the space and respect like my own time by like approaching it in a way that's acknowledges how it is, you know?
That's love. That's love. That's like true love.
It's like weird because I always tell Nora, I'm like, I don't love stand-up, but then I talk about it, I'm like, you do sound like a bitch in a love hoe.
Yeah. You do. Like, it's like you dating a dude or whatever you respective of dating, and it's like, you're like, I know you don't need me here, but I appreciate that we're here together.
Yeah, but actually that's how I approach relationships too. Yeah, I'm like, we don't have to be together, but I'm very glad that we are.
Which is fine. That'll keep me in your life forever. If that's your line, I don't need to be here, but I'm glad I am. Thank you.
And that's development for me too. I'll be like, please don't go, please.
I used to be like begging and clinging.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, you're an adult. No, everyone, this is a choice. It's a daily choice that we make. That's, you know.
You're grown up about it, and I think with time, just like with comedy and anything like that, you realize like most people don't want to deal with new people, especially in a good scenario. Like if it's good. A lot of people ain't fucking that up on purpose. You know what I mean? So as long as you cool, you give the energy that I think you give out, the game is gonna give back to you. I look at comedy as like a woman, so it's like she gonna give you what you want.
She's a goddess. No.
Yes, she is. Praise to the comedy god.
Yes, she will give you a drought. She will give you a harvest.
You're just looking around some crops, please.
She will decimate your whole village and let you build it again. That is what she is.
That's so accurate. That's so. Have you seen Thor? Thor, the recent one?
No, I haven't.
Oh, because there was a scene in there where they met old, but it would be a bunch of trivial ass guys, like the god of rocks, the god of wine, the god of comedy. Is that?
Yeah.
She will fuck your shit up. And that's when I feel like a bomb is coming, when the gods feel like displeased.
Dude, yeah. But sometimes I feel like you can kind of create that bomb for yourself. Like create that low stakes bomb, like let's just get this out of the way. Yeah. Like right now. I do that sometimes.
I got something important coming up. I got to get this bomb done.
Shout out to Amy Hawthorne, OG Late Night. They're like, here we go. It's like,
Late Night in New York. And you know what? I will say once again to pay respects to you. I saw you, it seems like you navigated the game in a cool way early on. Like you started doing a show like you, and we've had her on the show before, Nora Yaya. Y'all do a show together. You've also navigated your way into comedy clubs well, you know, and that is very rare and hard for not only black artists, but then, you know, women. I've just heard that throughout doing the show. And I wonder, how did you like navigate that level of business that well?
I would attribute it to, like, honestly, being a little bit older when I started. When I started comedy, I was 28. 28? Yeah, 28. So I feel like, and I'd had all these other experiences that I think really prepped me. Like, I played volleyball in college. I was on a team. I was a swimmer in college. Like, all these things helped me learn how to, like, navigate social conditions really well. And I think, like, that's how I've navigated, like, the social setting of comedy, which is also connected, or, like, ancestrally entwined with like the
we got a direct shot of you saying that. That sounded fire.
With the industry, right? So I think like I'm still learning the industry side of it, like full disclosure, but I feel like the other thing would be like asking people. Like I'm big on just asking people questions. Like I don't ever pretend to know. Like my first month of comedy, I met this amazing person. He's a comic, Cody Wilkins. And like my first year, we would just like go to shows together and like mics together. And he'd been in the game like a longer time than me. Like I'd only been in a month. And just like asking him a bunch of questions and like learning and like observing. And I'm a big listener too. Like when people are talking at a table, especially people I know are more senior than me, like I don't feel the need to talk because there's so many gems that get dropped all the time. And yeah, so I would say that's like the main thing is just listening to other people, observing also like what people dislike and like, and you know, really, I would say going back to listening, because sometimes you'll look at like you'll see two people interact with each other and then the interaction ends and then you'll see someone roll their eyes and you're like, so what happened there? Right? Because the other person's going to leave that situation thinking it was all good. They made a great impression. This other person's like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm eating my free meal. And you're over here like, you know, bothering me. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, maybe this is, read the fucking room. People do not know how to read the room at all. I'll be like, oh my God, like.
You don't get it. Yeah, look at the face. Read the room.
Read the room. And we're always, you know, sometimes we all make a misstep, but sometimes I've continuously seen things that I'm like, you really thought that was a good idea.
You thought that was the move?
You thought that was it. And again, we're all really hungry, but sometimes you gotta like not look thirsty. Like be hungry, not thirsty. Oh, that's good, I think. Be hungry, not thirsty.
Direct at the camera!
Be hungry, not thirsty.
I'm throwing all these on t-shirts, baby.
Be hungry, not thirsty.
Yeah.
If I want to be on Real Housewives so bad.
Yeah, I can hear it. It felt very gossipy, but because you started doing this with your hands about it, I was like, oh, I get it. Someone watches some daytime talk shows.
I love Real Housewives. It's my favorite thing.
There's another show my shorty watches. I forgot the name of it. It's with a bunch of rich white people who sell real estate.
Selling Sunset?
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow, look at how fast you got there.
Listen, life is hard. I love nothing but trash television. When I get to sit down, it's like, let me just watch all the Real Housewives franchises.
For the sake of it, I'll ask you two more questions before we wrap it. This is great. I learned so much. One, what's your favorite TV shows all time?
Jeez. Okay, can I get both questions at the same time? So
okay, so you can prepare.
Yeah.
No. The second question is going to be a long term.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay, great. Okay.
All time.
Can we go by genre?
Okay.
Okay. That didn't make it any easier, actually.
It did.
No, okay, so I would say like my favorite shows in terms of like my investment and like I just really loved it. Because here's the thing, shows always fuck up at the series finale. So it makes it harder to talk about. Like, because I want to say Game of Thrones, but that whole last season where they tried to like make these hour-and-a-half episodes, terrible. I want to say Ozark, but also series finale, terrible.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, good season finale?
Yeah, that was nice.
Okay.
That was nice. That was nice. So I would probably say Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones is one of my favorite. And then I actually think, and this is interesting because it's a relatively new show, but like What We Do in the Shadows is also one of my favorite shows. And Modern Family, I think, is a great comedy also. I think it's like one of the most perfect sitcoms ever.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fine. I grew up watching 2.5 Men. That was like...
That was a good one, too.
Yeah, until Charlie Sheen was gone. Then season finale.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll give you that. Season finales be garbage.
It's really hard to close up you have to tie up all these loose ends, and people want something in their hearts, and you have to, like, at least address it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's hard to nail that, especially, like, it's a whole thing.
It's easy when someone goes off to school, I think, or something, like in those like sitcoms.
It's easier when it's like a teenager or something. You can leave it open, or like young people, but it's a whole... I heard This Is Us is a good finale, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the show, and if thinking old school, I love The Simpsons.
The Simpsons?
Like older Simpsons episodes.
But they'll never have a season finale. I don't know when that show's going to end.
Those people are making so much money. That's like the goal in life, is to get on something like that.
Yeah, to just write for The Simpsons. If
you
wrote for The Simpsons year one, and let's say you got, them early contracts where like they'll give you a bunch of shit because they don't think the show's going to work. If you got that on The Simpsons, like a 2% on every episode.
Yeah.
Multi-millionaire.
like they were able to predict things just based off of how many fucking episodes they've had.
Yeah.
Like,
That's how you know a show has been around forever, when like conspiracy theory is around the show. Conspiracy theories don't pay attention to like basic level shit.
No, not at
all.
all. But they have, I think, like the early, up until they did that movie, I think the episodes were really good. After that, the show kind of went down.
Oh, you feel like it became more just like, not marketing, just they're churning it out at this point.
Yeah, they're phoning it in for sure. They're like this. They're probably on a Zoom call right now from like Maui, and they're all in their respective like $1 million condos.
So, would you like to write for The Simpsons?
Yes.
It's like all that shit, and then always be like, I would love to.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
I always gotta give everybody the out. I don't want you to be trapped like because I know you're gonna write for some amazing TV shows.
Thank you.
So I can't. I probably would love to have you write for a show that I create, and I think about it as you were talking. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be, because I want to have nothing but black staff.
I was gonna say, like, I don't think The Simpsons. I want to go and look it up, and maybe you could put in your post credits if they've ever had a black female writer on The Simpsons. I would be willing to bet they haven't, or it's been less than 5 women.
I could see that. Maybe Wanda Sykes, because she gets all the black female writing gigs.
I know.
Yeah.
I want that lady's career so bad.
You want it?
With the hetero version. Which is fine, you know.
I want the wife too.
I want her bitch. This is not like my stand-up comedy, which is what
But it will be a time.
One day.
All right. Last one.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. We're at the climax. The conclusion.
Let's go with the conclusion.
Season finale.
Finale.
The finale of the episode.
Oh, yes.
Gem time. This is the part where you look directly in that camera. You talk to them. You talk to that person that comes from your wave of thinking, your wave of living life, or young, old, it doesn't really matter, but they were watching this episode and they're like, yo, I feel like I am Electra. I could be like her. And when they watch this in 20 years, they'll be like, I want her life. I want her bitch. What would you tell them?
Pick somebody else. No, what would I tell them? That's a good question. What would I say? I think, like, preserve your mental health. Mental health is key. Maintain your physical health. And be self-aware. That shit has gotten me far in life. Or it's gotten me where I feel like I'm in a good place to say, be self-aware. Self-awareness is key, I think. Yeah, was that good?
Now, look at them, not me. You gotta ask them directly. Is that okay?
Was that okay? I mean, I feel like I should be like imparting, but I feel like it's like easy, but consistency is what makes it hard. You know, like maintaining your mental health for a day, great. Doing it for life, hard. You know? Like eating well for a day, yeah. Doing it for the rest of your life, hard. Being self-aware in a moment, everyone can do it. Being self-aware to a way where it's not like detrimental to you, hard to nail every day.
Yeah.
Hard to nail every day.
That might have been the best gem ever when you you just gotta add this stuff.
I gave the thesis statement. Now I needed the supporting paragraphs.
See, look at the writer kicking in. I love it so much. Thank you again for being on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, that has been our episode. My name is Alex Babbitt. I'll see you later. Peace.
Bye.
You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. Hey guys, thank y'all for watching Behind the Mic Stand. If y'all enjoyed it, as I think you did, because you made it to the end, like, subscribe, make sure you hit that notification button so you hear the subscriptions and shit. You know how it works. Just like it. Stop skipping this part and do it right now. What? Somewhere right here. I think it's right here. Right here. I think it's right here. Right here. I think it's right here.